Woman in Georgia, a guy breaks into her house with a crowbar, and she goes up into a crawl space in her attic, and with her two twins, the guy goes up there. She happened to hit him with 5 shots. That's all she had in the gun, 5. What if there were 2 guys? He walked out of that house. Andrew Cuomo, he has security. President Obama has security. Hollywood stars have security. Our money in our banks have security. How do you stop him?
It's all about finding the right balance, Sean. We already have a 10-bullet limit in
New York. Now it's 7. As of right now, it is 7.
And the idea is we want to make it as difficult as possible for people to walk into a movie theater or a school or whatever it is and do the maximum amount of damage.
Those are the criminals that don't obey laws. What about the law-abiding? What about this woman? If there were 2 intruders, she missed 3 times, and she had to take out 2 of them. What would happen then?
What we're trying to do, Sean, is make it as difficult as possible for criminals to do as much damage as they do.
But especially what has been accomplished is that New York State is making it as difficult as possible to protect your family. And it may be inconvenient to this governor and his political future, but there is a Second Amendment. And what we're doing is we are creating an entire category of new criminals out of law-abiding people. And the real criminals are going to continue to commit crimes.
Let me speak about this governor. Hang on one second. You speak about this governor. Let's show the governor in the State of the State address. I want everybody to watch this. Our founders, our framers, they never mentioned hunting. They never mentioned deer. They never mentioned any of these things. They talked about freedom and liberty over tyranny. Watch what Andrew Cuomo said.
Forget the extremists. It's simple. No one hunts with an assault rifle. No one needs 10 bullets to kill a deer. And too many innocent people have died already. And the madness now. Pass safe, reasonable gun control in the state of New York. Make this state safer. Save lives. Set an example for the rest of the nation. Let them look at New York and say, this is what you can do, and this is what you should do. This is New York, the progressive capital. You show them how we lead.
He just made sure he will never be president. You tell me how this law makes it safer for a stay-at-home mom, or maybe a woman that lives alone after a divorce that has a restraining order against a crazy ex-husband or boyfriend. How does that make them safer? I want to answer that.
I will. It makes it harder for the person with the restraining order against them to have this weapon to do damage to this woman. It makes it safer for her children to go to school and not have to worry about some maniac.
You live in New York. You got to be kidding. You live in New York. Wait a minute. You got to be on drugs. With all due respect.
No, I'm not actually.
Wait.
No need for you.
One of the few assembly maybe not on drugs, Greg.
With all due respect, if you're thinking that the criminals are going to obey the laws, you're not thinking straight. I'm talking about law-abiding citizens.
You're not listening to me, Sean, and it's not me who's on drugs at this table, so I don't appreciate the
7 bullets, thank you. How nice of you.
We're
7
not saying
bullets.
that criminals aren't going to commit crimes. What we're saying is we're going to make it as difficult as possible for those criminals to exert the maximum amount of pain and death possible. So if someone walks into a school, they won't be able to shoot rapidly, bullet after bullet, at our children.
So the next time, wait a minute, the next time they're going to wrap 8 guns, pistols, with 10 shots each, and then you guys are going to come back and say, well, we took a first step, but now we're going to ban pistols? Is that what you're going to do?
I'm glad you brought up the slippery slope. You mentioned the founders. Greg mentioned the Second Amendment. I want to address this once and for all because we're not doing anything revolutionary here. It was Justice Scalia, no liberal, as you know, Sean. In the case of D.C. versus Heller 2008, I'll quote him. He said, the Second Amendment right is not unlimited. It is not a right to carry any weapon whatsoever in any manner whatsoever.
I agree with that.
And for whatever purpose.
But already
we've had an assault weapons ban in this country for 10 years. The world did not end.
And it did no good.
You know, I'll just tell you right now, in New York State, we have a mental health system. And if you look at these tragedies that happen, you're talking about violently, mentally ill psychopaths. We have a mental health system that treats these people like numbers. It's a kangaroo system. I have a mother in my district that has a schizophrenic bipolar child. She fears for the community and herself every day. And we haven't done a damn thing to solve that situation.
I go to the slippery slope part. So now a mother at home defending herself against a drug addict or
Sean,
intruder.
they don't want the mother to have the guns. They don't want the retired police officer to have the guns.
So the next
We don't want the criminals. These guys, they want registration. They go to confiscation.
Hang on a second.
They will send
what do we do in the next incident? Because Cuomo mentioned the word confiscation. Somebody
Cuomo wants to confiscate.
No, he does not.
Okay, first, you may be on drugs. If you don't think that Cole belongs to confiscate, he's on the record on the Fred Dicker show saying that he supports confiscation. I know, listen right now, I know personally in the negotiation that he sent his staff in, most of them from New York City, they don't know that
I realize I'm in the
anything
Lions
north of
den here tonight. I've now been accused by both of you of doing drugs, which is just comical.
Their entire focus was confiscation.
Nothing we did is revolutionary last night. All we did was tighten up existing laws.
I got a
assault weapons ban that we made tighter. We have a magazine limit that we made a little bit tighter.
Let me say this.
And we have a universal
If you have an
background
incident
check.
where 3 intruders break into somebody's house and a law-abiding citizen runs out of his 7 bullets and that person dies, I argue you will have blood on your hands.
I don't have to use hypotheticals.
You will be responsible.
Aurora, Wisconsin, Sandy Hook. We have real-life examples of
Governor
what's gone
Cuomo's
wrong.
staff will have more than 7 bullets, I promise you that.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. All right, we're going to come back. Coming up, the audacity of this president knows no limits. The White House has just announced the president will outline his gun control plans coming up on Wednesday. Rumor has it he will do so surrounded by and exploited children. Now, I'd say this again. This is what you call politicizing and exploiting a tragedy. More next.